Brilliance Audio presents A Brand New Ending by Jennifer Probst, performed by Aaron Bennett and Brian Polino.
Kyle Kimpton drove up the familiar curving driveway of the Robin's Nest B&B. The trees swayed almost in welcome, branches bent under a thick coating of ice. But with every foot gained, his breath squeezed a bit tighter in his lungs. He was back. His gaze swept over the inn, noting the extensive renovations and the care taken with each detail. The bright blue trim of the Victorian farmhouse shone clearly even in the January gloominess. Mounds of snow covered the landscaping, but he had a feeling come spring the flowers and plants would be as impeccably groomed as their owner. The wraparound porch was brand new, sporting an array of wicker furniture with bright cushions and plush afghans set around a mobile fireplace. Silvery lights wrapped around the porch railing, twinkling merrily. Beyond the inn, the endless blanket of white broke open to reveal the thrust of the mighty mountains in the distance, sitting arrogantly between the fat wisps of misty clouds. A perfect winter wonderland. A peek into what he'd always believed Narnia could be. He parked the car and cut the engine. 10 years. 10 years since he'd come home to the small upstate New York town of Gardner and gazed upon the staggering Shawangunk Mountains. 10 years since he'd touched snow. 10 years since he'd been surrounded by the eerie beauty of nature's silence. And too many years since he'd seen the only woman he'd ever loved. They'd been the three musketeers, Ethan, Ophelia, and him, caught in a world of their own making. Memories assaulted him, of running through the woods when they were young and racing horses barefoot as the green meadow flashed below. Of moonlight walks and late nights at Bee's Diner, squeezed into the cracked red vinyl booths as they spun dreams of the future and feasted on greasy burgers. Of his first kiss with Ophelia, the taste of innocence and passion mixed with juicy fruit chewing gum. He closed his eyes, staggering under the raw emotions the images brought. Some of those dreams had come true for him, but the price had been brutal. It was time to make things right. It was time to reclaim what he'd lost. Kyle glanced at the passenger seat, his fingers already reaching to stroke the leather laptop case. He'd left a fancy mansion behind, along with rooms filled with expensive trinkets meant to amuse, entertain, and distract the masses. He'd walked away from a gourmet chef, housekeeper, and personal trainer. His garage still held the laser blue Lamborghini and the sleek black Hummer. He'd left the tuxedos and designer clothes in his closet, the cedar wine cellar still filled with rare, expensive wine, and the 4-poster mahogany bed that had seen too many lonely nights. Now, all he had to his name was one battered suitcase, his laptop, and a Ford Fusion rental car. And for the first time in way too long, he felt the beginning of a creative spark, the sexy wink of his muse beckoning him closer to his childhood home, where he'd sworn he'd never return. He grabbed his phone and tapped out a text to Ethan. "I'm here. How bad is she going to take it?" He waited a bit until the familiar gray bubble with ellipsis popped up. "Don't know. Depends on how pathetic you look. Still have no clue why she's mad at you." Kyle winced as guilt punched through him. Falling in love with your best friend's younger sister was a no-no. Running away with her was even worse. But eloping and not telling his friend about it? There was no making amends for that one. He cursed, then tapped his fingers again. Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. "Don't be stupid, it's a great idea. The inn isn't booked up and she's just being stubborn. Go inside, make nice, and I'll be there in an hour."